The live is on. Make sure we are live on Facebook. We're active over here on Facebook. I should change this pinned comment. See if I can edit this pinned comment. I will edit this comment. As y'all are checking in, shout yourselves out in the comment section here on IG. I'm just editing my pinned comment over on Facebook, so we have the right information up here for folks. As y'all, hope everybody's having a great Saturday afternoon or whatever day you happen to be watching this. It doesn't matter. This is evergreen information, what I'm sharing here. This will be relevant no matter when you consume it. So as y'all coming in, shout yourselves out. I'm just getting the pinned comment up here in the right way. And let's make sure that edits the right way. All right, there we go. So Instagram is telling people that I have started a live video. I got my comment up there. As y'all coming in, shout yourselves out. Shout yourselves out. Tell me where you are checking in from. And I got to fix this comment. Shout yourselves out in the comment section. Let me get my pinned comment up here. They give me an issue here with the links. Massachusetts in the building. Connecticut's in the building. So we got New England in the house. Shout out to New England. Showing up strong. And I think I got my comment pinned now. Let me see. All right, there we go. I think we got it now. Devin checking in from Indianapolis. What's going on? Hope everybody's having a great weekend, a great Saturday, a great start to your weekend. Today we're going to talk about this new era that we are all living in right now and how we can actually leverage this. This is a business topic conversation. I've been talking about some business topics the last couple of days, and people have liked it. Y'all been responding to it. So I talk about a lot of different things. I talk about personal development. I talk mindset a lot. I talk strategies, systems. I want to talk and I talk business. And this is an important thing because business is important because business is the exchange of resources, and everybody needs resources to do what we want to do. You know, everybody needs food, clothing, shelter. We all want to make money. So let's talk about how you can actually leverage the things that you need to understand about business. And by the way, my business builder course is available through Sunday night. I'm recording this on a Saturday. So if you're watching this on replay, by the time you see this on replay, it might be past Sunday. And I'm talking Sunday, January 29th, 2023. So if you see it after that, then this link, the link that I'm going to mention here, is no longer valid for you to get this course. But maybe it is. Maybe I have brought it back. But anyway, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin. I'm a former 9-year pro athlete, author of 33 books, done 4 TED Talks, created this whole brand called Work on Your Game, where I take the mindset and the strategies, most important things, the mindsets and the strategies to help athletes get to the top 1% of sports. And we translate those over to the business world to help professionals like yourselves do 3 specific things. Notice I talk about clarity. I've been talking about this the last few days. Perform at a higher level. That means you are serving people at the highest possible level and helping them get the results that they want. Number 2, you are doing this consistently, meaning you can do it over and over and over again. You can repeat your success. You don't get success just one time. You can do it over and over again. And number 3, make more money. I mean, that's the reason that we go to work every day, is so that we can make money. Nobody goes to work for free. All right. Even though some of you say you would do your job for free, you wouldn't really do it for free. If they said, all right, we ain't going to pay you anymore, you want to keep coming to work? Probably not. All right. So we're all doing this to make money. So that's what I'm going to talk about here today. And the first point, actually, it's not even the first point. This is just the background of this, is that we're going through different eras, even in the time that you've been alive. But if we go back to even before that, we used to be in the era of, many of you have probably heard of the phrase, the Industrial Revolution. During the Industrial Revolution, the person who had the power were the people who had access to all the industry tools, like machines. So if you had access to like a machine or like a tractor trailer or any kind of physical tool that could perform all this connection on IG, there we go. If you had access to any tool that could perform a physical task more efficiently than a human body could perform a task, then you had power. So this is why somebody like Henry Ford, who I'm in the middle of reading his book right now. It's called My Life and My Work, Henry Ford's book. You could probably download it for free, probably somewhere online, because I bet it's out of print. But I'm reading Henry Ford's book. Henry Ford was a very rich man. One of the reasons he was very rich is because he understood how to create tools and processes that were more efficient than just one human being doing something alone. He basically created what we now call the assembly line, where you have You guys say you got 20 people on the line. Each person does one of the 20 tasks. And when all 20 tasks are done, you have a finished product, like an automobile. Henry Ford is the one who created that. So the Ford Automobile Company is named after Henry Ford, and he's the one who popularized that process. And that's why he became rich. You think of the steel magnates back in the day, like Andrew Carnegie. He knew how to manufacture, process, sell, and use steel. And that's one of the reasons why he became a millionaire. And in today's dollars, he would be one of the richest men alive because of how much money he had based on the fact that he understood industry. Or you take the railroad magnates from back in the day, people who understood how to lay railroad, and they got ownership of railroads. And because they had control of that, they had control over industry, and that's how they made so much money. Topaz, what's going on? Good to see you here again. So that was the industrial era. Anybody who had control over any type of industrial mechanical thing, like a tool that could do more and more efficient work than human hands, they had access to the power. The next era, or a later era that we got into, because there have been several eras that we've gone through, the next era was the information era. Information era, or next era that I want to talk about, let's say, because there's been several eras. But the information era was the era that most of us were born in. If you were born, well, let me not say most of us. If you're over the age of 30, you were born during the information era. So the information era was kind of like pretty much from like the 70s and 80s, because you also had the technological era when people had access to technology, but not everybody had access to it. So that was when computers first came out. That's when computers used to be like the size of your living room. A computer was that size, and it was that big, and most people didn't have one, and most people didn't know how to use one, even if you gave them one. So the people who had access to that kind of technology got very rich because they understood things, and they had access to things that most other people did not have access to. That was the technological era. That was like our parents. They lived through that era. The information era is the era that many of us were born in if you're over the age of 30. Now, if you're under 30, it's a different era. I'll talk about that in a second. The information era was the era between, like, let's say like the 70s into up to about 2000. That was when people who had the power were the people who had access to information. So any of you who's over the age of 30, do you remember when we were in school that if you needed some information and you didn't have it, you couldn't pull out a phone and type anything into Google, because there was no such thing as pulling out a phone, and there was no such thing as Google. What did our teachers tell us to do, or our parents tell us to do? They would tell us to go to the library. Now, those of you who are under the age of 30 have no idea what I'm talking about. Some of y'all don't even know what the library is, but that's what they used to tell us to do. So I remember when I was in like middle school, and our teachers would give us an assignment, like you got to write a report on such and such, whatever. Pause connection again. All right, you basically had two options. So if you were lucky, and I guess I could say I was lucky because my parents, they bought a set of encyclopedias. And some of y'all don't know what an encyclopedia is. So any of you heard of Wikipedia? Okay, so an encyclopedia was like Wikipedia, but it was an actual book. So it was like this. You see all these books behind me? Encyclopedia was like you had 26 books, A through Z. All right, so it was an A encyclopedia, B, C, D. So any subject. So let's say you need to write a report on snakes. You pulled out the S encyclopedia and you looked up snakes, and whatever information was there on snakes, you wrote a report based on that. Or you wanted to look up Abraham Lincoln, you pulled out the A or you pulled out the L, depending on how they do it. You look up Abraham Lincoln and you wrote a report based on what was in there. Or if you had encyclopedias at home, you could do it from home. Or you go to the library and you use their encyclopedias. Or at the library, they would have computers. So I remember if I needed to do something that needed to be done on a computer, my mom would send me to the library in my neighborhood. I had to walk to the library, wait for my turn to get on a computer, and then they had workers. They had helpers who worked at the library, and they would say, all right, what you need help with? And it'd be some kid. I was like, let's say I'm 12 years old. The kid helping me was like 15. And it was like, what you need help with? And I say, all right, I got to write a report on Abraham Lincoln. This is what they would do. They would type in Yahoo. That's all they knew how to do. They would type in Yahoo and bring up yahoo.com, because Yahoo was the place to search before Google existed. And then they would type in the phrase and they would say, all right, there's your information that you need. Go ahead and get your information. And then this is what we would do, because you couldn't just sit there on the computer and hog it all day. This is what they would do. They would pull up the information on some web page, HTML web page. Then you would print it out. It would print out on paper. So if y'all can imagine this, all right, it would print out on paper. Then you would take the paper home and you would write your report based on the papers that you printed out off Yahoo, off the computer at the library in your neighborhood, if you had access to that. And most of us did, and our schools had libraries. So I don't know how any of you is in school now. You got kids who are in school. Do they even have libraries in school anymore? I don't even know that's a thing anymore, because basically everything that was in a library is now on the phone. But anyway, the whole point is that was the technological era was when people had access to this information, they could get it quickly through technology. That was that era, or like our parents' age. All right, and some of you know what I'm talking about. Jay Jones, I see you in here as well. So then the next era was the information era. That was when people who had access to information had control. So this is when, again, like I talked about, that you had to go to the library to get access to information. So people who were willing to go get that information had an advantage over the people who weren't willing to go get that information. So people who would read a lot of books, or people who went to the library all the time, people who could use computers, or they use computers all the time, they had access to certain information that other people didn't have access to. And you could utilize information to give yourself an advantage over your competition. That was what you could do all the way up to about the year 2000. Information was king. You had more information, you could be better than another person. The next era was around the turn of the centuries. This is around 1999, 2000. Y'all remember when the clock calendar was turned from 1999 to 2000? Everybody was talking about the Y2K bug. They were like, all right, the world's going to explode when the calendar turns from, like, on New Year's Eve, 1999, going to 2000. The world might blow up. All the computers are going to crash. There's going to be the Y2K bug. What are we going to do when the Y2K bug happens? And lo and behold, nothing actually happened. But that during that time, y'all remember that commercials and stuff that used to come out, and computer companies used to pay for these commercials. They called it the information superhighway. Y'all remember that phrase, the information superhighway? And what they were professing and what they were predicting, these technological companies like IBM, Microsoft, Apple as well, they were predicting, Intel, the company that makes the computer chips, they were predicting that in the future, everybody will be able to access information at a really fast pace. And this is going to change the world, and it's going to change everything, and it's going to change the way that we live our lives, because everyone will be able to access information really quickly, and the information will pretty much be at your fingertips. And this is going to be amazing, and it's going to change everything. Y'all remember how they used to sell us on that? Well, here's one thing in which they sold us on something, and they were actually telling the truth, because that happened. Because that's where we're at right now. Right now, on your phones, all y'all watching this on some type of interconnected device, you can go to a website like Google or DuckDuckGo, or Yahoo is still there, or Bing or whatever, type in a subject, and within seconds, you have access to all the information that we used to have to go to a library, and we used to have to ask somebody, and we had to figure out which aisle to go down, and we had to search through all the books, find the book, turn to the right page, read all the information, and then figure out what to use. Whereas now, somebody basically summarizes all that stuff, and within 30 seconds, you got the same thing that used to take us 3 hours to get the information to. That was what the information superhighway did. So it went from the information era to now we're in this era of everybody has access to information, the interconnected era. And now here's the new era that we're in. Because back then, up to that point, before information came out, it was the permission economy. That was the economy that we're in. That if you wanted to make a move, you had to get permission from somebody. You had to get somebody's permission. So, for example, I remember when I was in college, and I was in college from 2000 to 2004. And during that era, I was always a big reader and also a writer. And I knew I wanted to write books at some point. I want to write books. But I knew to write a book, you got to get, like, somebody has to either offer you a book deal, or you got to go and sell yourself to a publishing company. And this whole process. And I remember reading about it. Other authors that I used to read back in the day talked about how they got their publishing deals. I'm like, I don't want to go through all that. I didn't want to put a lot of time into it, because at the time I'm playing ball. I started building my brand online. I started putting videos on YouTube and all that stuff. I'm like, I don't have time for all that. I want to write a book, but I'll get around to it when I get around to it, because you had to get somebody's permission. And what they had was what we call gatekeepers. A gatekeeper is basically a person that determines who gets an opportunity and who doesn't. That's the gatekeeper. Gatekeepers mattered during the permission economy. Because if you could not get permission from the gatekeeper, you could not do business. You couldn't get anything done if you didn't get permission from the gatekeeper. If you did not get access to that computer, you couldn't get your info. If you couldn't get somebody to give you a publishing deal, then you couldn't put a book out. If you couldn't get someone to give you a radio show, you couldn't put your audio out. If you couldn't get someone to sign you to do a TV show, you couldn't put your stuff out on a screen. You had to get permission from somebody to do, like, what I'm doing right now. All of that stuff, the permission economy completely died when social media came in. Because what social media did was it flattened the playing field, and it basically democratized all of the things that you used to have a hierarchy for. So you used to have to work your way up to put a book out. Now anybody can put out a book. I could put out a book in the next 2 hours if I wanted to. with nobody's permission. I don't have to talk to anybody. I can have a book on Amazon with the link and everything by tomorrow morning. Anybody could. I could have a TV show just by signing up for a YouTube channel. I could have a radio show just by launching a podcast, getting the RSS feed link, and putting it up in the podcast app, and it'd be on Apple, Spotify, Overcast, Google Play, Blueberry tomorrow morning. That's what social media did. Social media basically flattened everything and allowed anybody, me, you, whoever, no matter how good we are, how educated we are, whether we actually have something useful to say, whether what we're saying is accurate, true, valuable, or not, anybody can put themselves out there. That's what social media did, and it created this brand new era, and that's what we're talking about right now. It's called the collaboration era. That's the era that we're in right now. And the reason why this era matters so much, the collaboration era, is because this is the best way and the fastest way to build your business and make money is through collaboration. It is not by doing everything yourself, like back in the industrial age or the technological age. It is not because you got permission from the right person or you're cool with the gatekeepers back in the permission economy. That's over. Anybody can put themselves out there in the collaboration economy. And here's the even better news to that. Now, I didn't even get into my points yet. I'm just giving you all the background. Here's the even better news to what I just said, is that in the collaboration era, you can just connect with somebody who is already on, already known, already liked, already trusted, already has an audience, already making money, and already got a big wide net of people that are already interested in them. All you got to do is connect with that person, and you can make money that fast. You don't have to spend 10 years building up your brand or building up your name, or back in the days they used to call it paying your dues. Ain't no paying dues anymore. Paying dues is over. Again, any of you over the age of 30 or close to it, you know what I'm talking about. Back in the 90s, early 2000s, people used to talk about that. Yo, I got to pay my dues. I paid my dues for years, putting time in the game and showing up to work every day and doing all this stuff and building up my name and learning and investing in myself and apprenticing under people. You used to have to pay your dues. Let's say it was 2023. So 25 years ago, if you wanted to get on at anything, you had to pay your dues. In 2023, you ain't got to pay no dues. Ain't no dues. Paying dues is over. All right, I'll show you. Let me give you an example. So you see this app right here? What app I got here? All right, y'all see this app right here at the top? That one with the one that looks like a musical. What is that called? A musical note. What is that app called? All y'all know this app right here. This one with the black. What is that called? All right, all y'all know that app. All right, you get on that app. Ain't no dues. You ain't got to pay no dues. In 2 days, you can have 500,000 people have seen you and know your name and be following you, and you ain't do nothing. You might not even be talented. You might not be smart. You might not be talented. You might not even have anything of real value to offer, but a whole bunch of people know your name. You got a bunch of followers. Ain't no dues to be paid. You ain't got to put in 3 years of work. You don't have to apprentice under anybody. You don't have to do an internship. You ain't got to do nothing. You can get yourself on that fast in this era. That's what this era has done. That's the collaboration era. So for some people, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit more, for some people get annoyed about this era because especially people who are older. Like if you're over the age of, let's say somebody who's over like 40, 50, 60, like people our parents and grandparents age, some of them get annoyed with this era because they're looking at themselves like, wait a minute, when I was coming up, I had to put in 5 years of apprenticing and I didn't get paid that much money. And I had to put in all this time and all this blood, sweat, and tears and get permission from this person, that person, get okay by them, do all this hard work. Then I finally got on after like 15 years of effort to finally get my chance. And now you, 25-year-old, you getting on in like 3 hours. It took me 10 years to get on. You got on in 3 hours. Like, how is that even? That's not fair to them. They're kind of annoyed by that. And I hope that none of you ever fall into that, because I'm gonna let y'all know something. Yeah, and Daberdeen said, yeah, now these new kids getting on quick with doing nothing and may not have the same level of substance that your grandparents or your uncles or your parents had, to be honest. But at the same time, let me be clear about something, all y'all who is listening to me now. 15 years from now, in 2038, there's going to be a new way to get on that's even faster than how we are getting on. So I want to make sure y'all don't look at the next wave the way that the past wave is looking at us. Because right now they're looking at us like, oh, y'all doing it all easily. You didn't have to put in the time like we did. 15 years from now, the next wave, your kids, they're going to be getting on in a way that's way easier than even what you have to do. So make sure you don't. So you might be laughing at the old heads now, But 15 years from now, you're going to be the old person. And they're going to be laughing at you if you're mad that they're getting on easily. So be clear. All right. Everything new becomes old. All right. And everything old goes away. Then there's a new wave. Everything just keeps going. Everybody gets a day older every single day. Okay. So it used to be, and I'm getting into my points here. I'm giving y'all a lot of background, but it used to be somebody had to give you permission to do what you wanted to do. All right. You had to get permission to, for example, even building email lists. I remember I started building my email list in 2013. Somebody had to give me their email list, and they had to check a box and all this stuff in order to get on my email list. That was the only way that I could market to people. And that's not to say that emailing is dead. Emailing is still a thing. You still got to get you had to get permission, like I said, to get a publishing deal. You had to get permission to get people to encourage you to put yourself out there before you actually did it. What I want to tell you now is that we're in a new era that, again, is called the collaboration era. So here's point number one. Now that I gave you all of that background. All right, here's point number one. All right, in this era, you work with other entities. They offer something, you offer something. Y'all work together, and both of you get a mutually beneficial outcome. For example, right now, I mentioned this before, even this week. Right now, I'm collaborating with Instagram to do this live, and I'm collaborating with Facebook too. So I'm live on Facebook. I got my Facebook business page and my Facebook business group called Six Figures and Growing. My business page called Work on Your Game. Any of you on Facebook want to join, go to those two pages. I'm collaborating with Facebook and I'm collaborating with Instagram right now. Now, why is this a collaboration? It's a collaboration because Instagram and Facebook have the people and I got the content. So on these platforms, and think of all the other ones, TikTok, YouTube, what else I got? Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. What are you doing on those platforms? How much content does LinkedIn actually create? LinkedIn itself, how much content do they create? Not much. And if they did, you don't even know about it. How many videos does YouTube put out every day? I'm talking about YouTube, the company. How many videos do they put out? Not if they do, you don't even know about them. How many posts does Instagram put up every day? I'm going to go to Instagram's Instagram account. Again, I'm talking about Instagram, the Instagram account. I'm looking at Instagram's page. All right, here's Instagram's page on Instagram. Instagram got 600 million rather, followers. They put a post up 7 hours ago. They put one up the day before. Couple of them the day before. The last one before that was 5 days ago. Last one before that was January 21st, a week ago. Last one before that was January 20th, January 17th. They don't even post that much. All right, most of us post to Instagram more than Instagram posts to Instagram. They call that user-generated content. We create all the content. All they do is give us access to the people, and it's worth it. It's mutually beneficial. Instagram grows because everybody's using it. We get the benefit because I get to put out my message, and I don't have to do a whole bunch of hard work to get your attention. All I got to do is put a message out consistently. Instagram shows my message to you. And that's how many of you came to know. Many of you came to know me just through Instagram. Many of you never met me in person. You may have never been in the same city as me at the same time. But because of Instagram, my collaboration with them, you're able to get my message. And you can get a benefit from it. I get a benefit from it. And Instagram benefits because what they do is sell advertising to the companies that want to pay money to advertise to people like me and you. And the more we use the app, the more they charge money for advertising. And so everybody wins. So that's a collaboration. All right. So you can still do things like have an email list. That's permission marketing. That's what email list is permission marketing. So for example, if you go to my website, workonmygame.com, you can get on my email list. But in order for you to get on my email list, I can't just put your name on my email list. And technically I can, but technically that's illegal. I'm not supposed to do that unless you give me permission. In order for you to get on my email list, you had to put in your email address and verify that you want me to email you. That's called permission marketing. But these days, I don't have to get anybody's permission to market to you. So all I got to do is put it on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. I could put some money behind it, advertising, boost my content, and it's going to get shown to you whether you want to see it or not. So there's no permission. I don't need your permission to show you what I want to say. If I want to put an ad up right now, I can put $1,000 for one day behind an ad. I guarantee you'll see it because I'll just click anybody who's similar to my followers, and you're going to see that ad. Now, whether you do anything with the ad is a different story, but I don't need your permission anymore. You understand what I'm saying here? This is what the collaboration era has done, is that it removes that barrier of permission. I don't need you to give me your permission. I'm still going to market to you whether you want to see it or you don't want to see it. Now, there's some things you can check boxes and stuff to make sure you don't see my ads, but for the most part, you can't get away from it. This is what the collaboration era does. All you got to do is put it out. The platform gathers the people, and they decide through their algorithm whether your message is worthy of being shown to person A, B, C, D, E. But there's a billion people on this platform, so you don't need everybody to see it. You just need the right people to see it. All right, so they got the people, you got the content. Okay. At the same time, understand you should not. At the same time, don't build your whole business on a social media platform, because if you build your whole business on these platforms, they own your business. Like, you don't really own a business if all your business is done and it all depends on a social platform that you do not own, like all those apps that I just mentioned: LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all the other ones. Anyone I didn't mention, don't build your whole business on those platforms, because they can, with one click of a button, delete your whole business. And if you know anybody whose account got deleted, they had a whole bunch of followers and they were doing all their business through some social platform, but for whatever reason they got banned, blocked, suspended, or hacked, whatever, and now they lost their whole business and they're like devastated and they don't know what to do. That happens to people all the time, because they made the mistake of building their business on a platform that they didn't own. I'm not saying don't do business on these platforms. I do business through these platforms. You may have even seen my ads on these platforms. Lost connection there. All right, there we back. But even though I do business on these platforms, I don't depend, my entire business not based on these platforms. If these went away, I can still conduct business, and you should set your business up the same way. Point number 2, we're talking about the collaboration era that we're in now. Great thing about the collaboration era, again, is that you don't need permission from anybody who already know you to put yourself out there. All right. Even if people don't like you, even if people don't agree with what you're saying, the platforms you're collaborating with can expose you to millions of other people who might love what you're doing. So even if the people who know you now don't like what you're doing, they don't like your offer, somebody else might like it who never even heard of you before. Again, so the thing is, see, back in the permission economy, you had to start off local and then you had to build yourself up, right? You had to start off where you were at. You had to, let me get known in my little neighborhood where I'm at. Then after I get known in my neighborhood, now I can expand to the region. I get known in the region, I can expand to the state, I can expand nationally, and I can expand globally. And I had to take time. You had to start small and slowly build yourself up. The collaboration era has completely eliminated that process, and you could be worldwide in one day. All right. If you create content, anyone here who puts out content, written, audio, video, whatever, you have fans. You can have fans in places that you have never physically been. You could be a person living in America, don't even have a passport. You never left the country, but you got fans. You got a fan base in countries that you couldn't even legally travel to right now, simply because the collaboration era has flattened the earth, basically, that anybody can reach anybody just through a digital connection, and you don't even have to leave the house. That's what the collaboration era has done. So you can be out there. You don't have to start small. You can start big. And this is something that I talked about when I talked about business as well. When you're selling, you don't have to start with a small product. For like when I started, I was selling $4 and 99-cent programs to ball players. You don't have to start with a small product. You can start selling. Your first sale could be a $5,000 product. You can start offering a $20,000 high ticket mastermind or a coaching program or something like that. Now you still got to put the mechanisms in place to sell it, but you can start offering that. Now, you don't have to start at $1 and then build your way up to 5, 10, 20. No, you don't have to do that. The permission economy, in that era, you had to do that. But in this era, you don't have to do that, because you don't need anybody's permission. You can start wherever you want, and you don't have to be accepted by anybody here as well. So you can have a bunch of haters who don't like you, but the haters who don't like you can't stop you from reaching the people who love you. See, in the permission economy, the haters could stop you. They could block you pretty much. If the haters didn't like you, they could block you from getting on. So in my book, Work on Your Game, this book right here, I got a section in that book where I talked about how a hit record can't be stopped. And this was something that DJ Khaled actually said to a rapper. This is way back. This is like 2008. And Khaled was known, but he wasn't as known as he is now. He was out, but he wasn't like he is now. And what had happened was Khaled was performing at a club, right? And he was DJing. And there was a rapper performing on the stage, and the rapper saw DJ Khaled, and he kind of like shouted him out, called him out, like, yo, DJ Khaled, you don't be playing my songs. You need to play my songs more often. And Khaled later on responded to this rapper, not on the spot, because Khaled's not confrontational like that, but later on he did respond. He said, yo, that rapper, the reason why your music doesn't get played is because you haven't made a hit record. If you make a hit record, nothing I can do to block you. I can't stop you if you make a hit record. But it is true that in the permission economy, I'm just using music as an example here. If people didn't like you, they could block you from getting on. They could block you from getting your opportunity. If nobody likes you, or the powers that be don't like you, it's not nobody, but if the powers that be didn't like you, let's say I was a rapper back in the days, right? Let's say the year 2000, 20 years ago, I was a rapper, and the executives at all the major record labels just personally didn't like me. Because let's say I walked up on somebody and slapped them because he said something disrespectful. So now all of them got together and said, we're going to block Dre from ever putting a record out. I could have a great record, but because they don't like me, I wouldn't get any radio play. Nobody signs me to a contract, and my career might just fizzle out and die just because nobody liked me. That's how it was in the permission economy. But in the world today, let's say I go smack some music executive and they don't like me, it doesn't matter. Because I could put my music straight out to the fans. I don't have to go through a music executive. I can go straight to the fans, and if the fans love my song, there's nothing any executive could do about it. Every DJ in the world could hate my music, but if they go do a party and the fans at the party, the people at the party say, yo, play that song by Dre, they ain't got no choice but to play the record. Even if they hate me, they got to play the song. That's what the collaboration economy has done. It has allowed us to go straight to the consumer. Anybody can go straight to consumer. You could always go straight to consumer, but now it's very easy. You don't even have to have a lot of technical skill or knowledge, or honestly, you don't even have to be that intelligent. You can go straight to the consumer without even understanding why and how it works. I'm explaining the why and how of it, but you don't have to understand this to do it. That's the great thing about it. This is how somebody could be on TikTok making dance videos and making money. They could be making more money than their parents every month, and they don't even understand business because the collaboration era has made it so simple for anybody to do this. And I'm sharing all this to help you all understand the opportunity that's in front of you. And I want you to understand the nuts and bolts, the why of it. Because when you understand the underlying strategy, you can use this, you can use that knowledge to apply it any way you want to any business that you're doing. That's the reason why I'm doing this, is I want y'all to understand this stuff. So in the permission economy, you had to do it. So give you another example. I come from the basketball world. Like, I played professional sports. Now, the way that I was taught, the way I came up, it was like this. You play ball in the streets, right? In the playgrounds. Then from the playground, you went to playing recreational ball. That means like the local recreation center, you played, there would be little games every Saturday or every Tuesday and Thursday you play a game. That was the next level. Next level, you was play for your high school. Next level, you played in college. And then you, hopefully, if you could, you played in the pros. And that was the ascension. That was the ladder that you had to climb. Street, rec, high school, college, pros. That was the order that you had to take. And I still like that order because you had to prove something to get to each one of those levels. Like, you can't just call yourself something and not be playing at those levels. Somebody played at this level. If you only played in high school, another guy played pro. The guy who played pro was better than you because there was a hierarchy. That was the process you had to follow. But nowadays, look at this. Some ball players, let's say some of you, if you're over, let's say 30 or 40, you got kids who play ball. They don't have to try to play high school. They don't have to play rec, high school, college, or pro. They could be TikTokers or Instagrammers or YouTubers and make more money doing that than they might ever have made playing pro, or of course playing in college. You don't make any money. But now they got NIL deals, right? So now they got the name, image, and likeness deals. What is a name, image, and likeness deal, folks? What are we talking about here? It's a collaboration. A name, image, and likeness deal is a collaboration. So if any of you has a kid or any of you is that age, you go to college, the college team can't technically pay you, but you might get a deal with Nike or Gatorade or, I don't know, name a company, Apple, whoever. You get a deal with one of them. They're collaborating with you because what are they getting out of it? They'll pay you $10,000 a month because what they're going to do is use your name, image, and likeness on their advertising, and they're going to leverage your popularity to sell more of their products, and you leverage their money to basically fill your pockets. That's a collaboration. You get it? So now somebody could be you could be a ball player. When I was coming up playing ball, my angle was always, and I started putting videos on YouTube in 2005. That's when YouTube first came out, literally first came out. And I was still at the time, now I'm putting all these videos on YouTube, and a bunch of people who were watching me figured that I was just a dude making videos on YouTube. But I would always tell the players, like, yo, I play professional basketball overseas, but who here watches basketball overseas? Nobody. Most people couldn't name one single player who plays overseas right now. You couldn't name one person, an American who plays basketball overseas, unless you personally know somebody or you're deep in the game. So the thing was, most of the people who know me from basketball know me from YouTube. They don't know me from college. They don't know me from the pros. They know me from YouTube. And I would always tell players, look, the only reason I got another pause connection there. All right. I would tell people the only reason I make these videos on YouTube is because I'm practicing so I could be ready for my next opportunity to play pro, because I was taught the hierarchy, right? Rec league, high school, college, pro. That was the hierarchy that I was working off of. I was always trying to go to the next level. So I played rec league, I played high school, I played college, and now I'm trying to play pro. I was always trying to go up every level. And then there's overseas, there's the NBA. All right, so you're always trying to go to higher and higher levels of the hierarchy. But this era of players who are out now, some of them are like, you know what? I ain't even gonna try to play in college. I ain't even gonna try to play in the NBA. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get it popping on YouTube. I'm gonna get it popping on Instagram. I'm gonna get it popping on TikTok. And look, there's a lot of ball players who will make more money doing that than they will ever make playing in the hierarchy, because they might not make it as a pro. They might not be able to make it as a pro, because to make it as a pro, you got to fit into a system. You got to do certain things. You got to play the game a certain way. But you could be on TikTok or Instagram doing little funny stuff, dancing mixed with basketball, mixed with comedy, and you don't even have to be that good at basketball. But if you got fans, boom, you can make a couple $1,000s a month just doing that, and that could be a full-time job. Whereas 20 years ago, if you couldn't fit into the system and make it on a college team, if you didn't know what it meant to set a screen or a pick and roll or playing help side defense or a 2-3 zone, if you didn't know how to do that, then your career ended right there. But now you don't have to understand anything about the fundamentals of basketball. As long as you can be entertaining and get a fan base through the collaboration of a social media platform, you can do business. So it has flattened things out to where the hierarchies are crumbling. They don't matter as much. It's not that they don't exist anymore. They just don't matter as much. Now, again, you can still go try to play in the NBA. I mean, the NBA is still the NBA. The NFL is still the NFL. But now there are other ways to make money through, let's say, sports than just climbing a ladder and going to the pro league. You can make money through soccer without being a professional soccer player. You can make money in football without playing football. You can make money you could be an analyst of the game without actually getting a job at NBC or ESPN. Everybody follow what I'm saying here? So this is what the collaboration era has done, because you are collaborating with these platforms who have gathered all the people. They gathered all the people. All you got to do is find something that gets their attention, and boom, you got your own audience. At the same time, let's be clear. I talked about this in a couple episodes of my podcast, by the way. 2 episodes, episode 1690 and also episode 1862. Just because you can collaborate with these platforms and make money, do not get lazy and think that it's just going to keep going like this, because again, these platforms can take your whole business out from under your feet if your whole business is on their platform. They own you. They own your whole business if that's the situation. And I've heard way too many stories of people getting their business snatched from under them because they got lazy and or they didn't do the work to figure out how real business actually works. So here's the caveat to everything I've said so far. You still need to understand how real business actually works, because Instagram knows how business works. YouTube and TikTok and Facebook and LinkedIn, they know how business actually works. They know. And they understand that there's a bunch of people out there right now today whose whole business is based on utilizing their platforms. And if they decide they want to take your business from underneath your toes tomorrow, they can do it. They know that they can. They can push one button and boom, your whole business is gone. That fast. So you need to still get yourself a traditional, quote unquote, traditional business education, or we call it a formal business education, because you need to understand the principles of business. All right? It's not about back in the day. It's not about being old. It's about understanding the principles of business. And one of the principles of business is the golden rule. He who has the gold rules. And the gold is access to your audience is the gold. If you don't have direct access to your audience, you do not own a business. What does direct access to your audience mean? Like right now, I'm accessing all of you, right? Somebody said that's why I want to have to transfer people off of IG, etc. Yes, right. So direct access to your audience means you can reach people in your audience without having to get on a social media platform. Right now, I'm doing this live stream, or this is going to be recorded. I'm going to put it on YouTube. So some of you are going to watch this on YouTube. Some of you are watching on Facebook. Some of you are watching on IG, one of those platforms. But here's the thing. The only way any of you is going to get this message is by opening up Facebook, IG, or Instagram. That's not direct access. The only way I'm getting this message to you right now is because I'm on IG and Facebook and you're on IG or Facebook watching me. That's not direct access. That's indirect. That's third party. See, I have to use them to get to you. Everybody catching what I'm saying here? Direct access is I can take a message and give it directly to you, and I don't have to log on to anybody's platform to do it. So, for example, an email list is direct access. That's why any of you who's read anything or studied anything about business, people talk about building your list. The list is the most important thing that you have in business. Your list is, and I'm going to make the list concept very simple. And I talk about this in my business builder course, by the way. The list is Only three things, one of three things you need to get from another person: an email address, a physical address, a phone number. That's it. If you have somebody's email address, physical address, phone number, then that's a list element. You want to get as many of those as possible. That's a list. Instagram followers are not a list. And sometimes people, another pause connection there. They try to conflate. They try to say, I've heard people say this. So your list is all your followers on all the social media platforms combined, plus your email list, plus any phone numbers. That's not a list. Your Instagram followers do not count as part of your list. So somebody asks you, how big is your list? You don't add up you don't say, I got 10,000 on Instagram and 2,000 on YouTube. No, that's not a list. List is the people who are giving you direct permission to contact them directly. Email address, physical address, phone number. That's a list. Instagram does not count. So somebody asks me how many people on my list, I don't count my Instagram followers because that's Instagram's list. Because think about this. You deleted your Instagram account. What will happen to the people who are following you? Nothing. They'll still be on Instagram the next day, just not following you anymore because you're gone. But they don't go away, so they're not yours. See, if they don't go away, they're not yours. All right, so that's the most important thing y'all got to keep in mind here about the business side of what social media is doing. And don't be ignorant of this, because there's going to come a day when they're going to pull the rug out from everybody, and anybody who ain't ready, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a cold day for a whole bunch of people. Moving on to point number 3. We're talking here today about the collaboration era. The permission era is over. The collaboration era is on. Given this information, what I've shared with you here today so far, your job is to go find the audience. This is your job. Find or create. You may have to create this audience who wants what you have to offer, and figure out who you can collaborate with who's already identified these people. This is where collaboration happens. Who already has the people that you want, and how can you work with them? How can you work with that person? I can tell you that many of my biggest business deals came through collaboration, some form of collaboration, whether it was me putting my message out through a platform like this one, or a YouTube, or podcast, even podcasting. You're collaborating with somebody because they're hosting the show. So my podcast is on Spotify, is on Apple. All right, they are the platforms. They're similar to Instagram and YouTube. They put the material out there. You provide the material. They put it out there. They have the people. You got the content. That's a collaboration. Almost everybody who's a member of my university found me through some form. Actually, everybody found me through some form of collaboration. It's not like these are people I know my whole life and we already know each other. No, they found me through the platform. Then they got into my world. That's how it works. So you need to figure out who already has the audience of people that you want, and then figure out how to collaborate with them. So when you do a joint venture with another person, you do any kind of affiliate marketing, you appear on somebody else's live stream, you get on somebody else's channel, you get interviewed by somebody, you do a guest post on somebody's platform. All of those are different forms of collaboration. Key skill you need to collaborate is communication. I talked about this a lot this week. If you want to collaborate with a bunch of other people, you got to get your communication skills up big time. The communication skills determine whether you'll be able to get your point across to somebody else that what you have to offer is valuable to them and their audience. So you can achieve results very quickly, everyone, when you master this formula of being able to communicate and collaborate. But understand, you still must have something of value to offer, and you have to be able to communicate that value. You need both. Have something of value, be able to communicate it, and communicate it to the right person. Because not everybody you want to collaborate with will feel the same way. They won't reciprocate the feeling. Sometimes people will say no. I reach out to people like every week. I reach out to anywhere between 10 and 20 people, try to do some form of collaboration. 10 to 20 people a week. Different forms of collaboration. Sometimes it's money related, sometimes it's not. And sometimes people say yes and we collaborate. Sometimes they don't respond at all and we got to keep following up. And sometimes people respond and say no. They say, no, this is not a good match, or that's not what I'm looking for right now, or it's just not a good fit for where we're at. And that's all right. All right. Everybody ain't going to say yes, but you got to be out there making offers. This is the collaboration era. This is what y'all need to be doing. And in my business builder course, you DM the word biz, B-I-Z, to me on Instagram, and I will tell you I will show you in that course, 13 steps, how to actually do this. And at my event, I got an event called Work on Your Game Live. It's happening this upcoming Friday and Saturday. We already closed the ticket sales for that. But at that event, we're going to be showing people exactly how to make that happen, how to collaborate, how to do collaborations, how to do them consistently. And there's a structure and a system to collaborating. It doesn't matter what you do for a living or what you sell. You could be in coaching, you could be in real estate, you could be an influencer, you could sell books, you could be trying to figure out what you're going to do. You want to collaborate with other people because other people already have momentum. So if you can hitch your wagon to their vehicle that's already moving, why not do it that way rather than try to do everything on your own? Do everything on your own. You gotta figure out the whole process yourself. Why do that? We would just get with somebody who's already doing it. I mean, so that's why you collaborate. So you must have something of value to offer. You got to identify the right people, and you have to communicate to them why they should work with you. What can you give them that they can't get for themselves? You got to be able to answer that question. What can you give to other people that they can't get on their own? If you can't answer that question, they won't collaborate with you. All right, that's the main skill you need in this economy. So I'm gonna recap these points. If you have a question, put it in the comment section right now. So I'm gonna cover this again. The permission economy being over, we're talking about the collaboration era. That's the era that we're in now. That's simply when two or more entities come together. An entity can be a person, a company, a platform, whatever. They come together for a mutually beneficial outcome. So I have something, you have something. All right, I'll bring this to the table, you bring this to the table, and everybody wins. It's like a potluck dinner. Everybody has to bring something, but everybody brings something valuable, and everybody benefits, and everybody eats. We call that synergy. That the 1 + 1 = 3. The sum of the parts is greater than the whole, or the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, however you say it. 1 + 1 = 3. All right, people working together is more valuable than each individual added up, one at a time. Number two, great thing about the collaboration era is that you don't need anybody's permission to put yourself out there, and you can achieve outcomes relatively quickly in the collaboration era simply because you're drafting off of somebody else's momentum that's already been created. You don't have to do it all by yourself. And number three, given this information, you need to go find people who already have the audience that you want, who've already laid the groundwork. They've already laid the foundation for what you want, and figure out a way that you can get into their world and start working with them. You offer them something of value. They offer you something of value. And especially if you're starting out, you got to be creative with this, because you might think you don't have anything to offer somebody because they have more money than you or more followers than you, or they've been in the game 10 years longer than you. What do they need that you can offer? And sometimes it's just a matter of you just looking at what they're doing and creatively figuring out, what skill do I have that they clearly need that I can help with? And then taking initiative, keyword initiative, and showing them that you can help them. Not asking them, not telling them, showing them that you can help them achieve something that they otherwise wouldn't get without you. When you can show somebody you can give them value, then they will be willing to give you value back. So again, don't think that every person that you're looking at and you're trying to collaborate with, that the only thing you can offer them is money. Like, everybody who's listening to me right now, there's something that you want in life right now that's not money. Can we agree? Can we agree that everybody who's listening to me right now, there's something in life that you want or need, or you are short on right now that is not money related? Everybody in the world needs something that ain't money. So don't think that the only thing you can offer somebody is money, and you're like, damn, they got way more money than me, so I can't offer them anything. They don't want your money. They don't need your money, but they need something else. What else do you have? That's where you got to get creative here. And this is all part of your sales process, by the way. This is part of your sales and marketing process. So anybody got a question, put it in the comment section right now. I'm going to address a couple questions if there are any, and then we'll wrap this one up. Again, my business builder course is available through Sunday nights at 11:59 p.m. Eastern is the last minute. You can get that course if you DM the word biz, B-I-Z, to me on IG. You'll get it. If you're on Facebook, you see the link right there. And also on IG, if you just go to the link in my bio. By the way, if you only have to DM me, just go to the link in my bio, or just go to my story, because I've posted about it multiple times over the last day plus. That's workonyourgameuniversity.com/business builder. You get access to that course. It's a 13-step process of exactly what you need to lay the foundational pieces for your business. And most important thing that I do in that course is help you understand how business actually works structurally. You need to understand the principles of how business works, because the reason I call it business builder, because it doesn't matter what business you're doing. It's helping you understand mentally how the business works, how business works, period. Not the business, but how business works, period. When you understand that, you can apply it to any business, anything that you do over and over and over again. So this is a lifetime of value that I'm giving you here, because you'll be using this over and over again in any business that you do. Even if a friend asks you to help them with their business, because you'll understand what I'm going to teach you, you'll be able to help other people, not only just help yourself. Again, that's in the business builder course. You get that by going to the link in my bio, Instagram, or clicking the comment that you see there if you're watching me on Facebook right now. Again, that's called the Business Builder course. Anybody got a question? I don't see any questions coming up, so I guess the material is perfect today. I'll take that. I'll take that as a compliment. But all right. So, question is, what if your business is confined to one or two states and not global? Well, how many people live in your state? We're talking millions of people. All right. So, whatever state you live in, we're talking millions of people. So, absolutely nothing wrong with that. You can still make your business work. Is first of all, are you talking about the collaboration part? You're talking about the business builder part. But when it comes to collaboration, listen, collaboration can just be, if you have a brick and mortar business, especially, is who are your neighbors? Who are the other people in town who already have some of the customers that you want? Or who are some of the other businesses in your one or two states that are serving the kind of customers that you want to serve, or serving the exact customers that you want to serve? All right. All of that is part of the collaboration. And these are just, again, this comes back to thinking creatively. And this is what I help coach people on. Is also what I help people understand through my business builder course. And that's why I had that course. And that's why I got Work on Your Game University, because Work on Your Game University is about a real life education. It's not the formal education that you got in college. Nothing wrong with that. I got a college degree myself, but the real life education is the one that is really going to make you the kind of money that you want to make. It's not just the stuff that you got in the lecture halls in college. So hopefully, Glenn, that answers your question. All right. I don't see any other questions here. So we're going to wrap this up, everybody. Again, business builder course. The link in my bio on Instagram, also the pinned comment right here. Hit me in a DM if there's anything that you think of or I did not answer that you would like me to address. To send me a DM. And my text number, I'll put that here as well. I haven't been able to respond to text all week because we got some technical difficulties going on, but the texts do still exist. I'm still sending out the text. As soon as we get that fixed, I'll be able to respond to people's messages and stuff like that. So if you haven't gotten a daily motivation, or if you're not on my list to get it, text me at that number right there. You'll get in. Or if you don't get the confirmation, then it might just be something technical. We're working it out. It'll be fixed within the next few days. We'll have it all working and all that. So again, text me at that number. You can get the daily motivation, or just save it. And when it starts working again, you'll be able to text me. So that's it, everybody. Y'all have a great Saturday. I'll probably do another live tomorrow. Maybe. We'll see. Work on your game. Out of here.